Season's greetings, folks, and I hope the 1/6 scale Santa is set to bring you all the plastic people your heart desires. And welcome back to the channel for Go Figures annual roundup of my top 10 1/6 scale figures of 2024. Caveat straight away, this is a top 10 of figures that have been released this year and have found their way into my collection, not a top 10 of everything that's been released. And it's also worth mentioning that these are my personal favourites, and as we all know, opinions vary and collecting is subjective. So it's been another stunning year for collectors, with InArt taking the fight to Hot Toys upping their game with reissues and artisan pieces, and companies like Caustic Plastic, J&D, Iconic, Sideshow, All Toys, and third parties as well like Mars Toys and Present Toys, all dropping really high quality and varied releases, which means there is no better time to be a collector than right now, in my opinion. But before we dive in, I would like to send a massive seasonal thank you to everyone who supported the channel in 2024. You have all been amazing. And I've got to say, the response to the channel has been inspiring, and I'm really looking forward to bringing you more of the same in 2025. And it's fair to say, none of this would have been possible without you. Also like to send a massive thank you to William Wang over at One Man's Hobby for sourcing me a lot of the figures and statues over the past year. As always, there will be a link to his website in the description below. But before this turns into an Oscar acceptance speech, just like to say, all the figures you see in the video today will have been reviewed on the channel, so if you're wanting to see them up close and personal in a bit more detail and a bit more depth, then check out the channel. And before we get into the top 10, we're going to go and kick off with some honourable mentions that didn't quite make it into the top 10 for one reason or another. So before we dive in, a Merry Christmas to everyone and a happy 1/6 scale New Year. And so without further ado, let's dive into the honourable mentions. Okay folks, so first up to bat in the honourable mention category is the Sliced Alone Shop 1/6 scale take on Marion Cobretti from the 1986 Cheese and Action Fest that is Cobra. Now this figure just missed the cut, unfortunately, as it was released at the very back end of 2023. Had it been released in 2024, it absolutely would have made my top 3 figures of the year, no doubt about it. Now I'm going to be a bit controversial here. I didn't like the head sculpt on the first Sliced Alone Shop release. It was their John Rambo, First Blood. To me, it was more droopy than Rambo. But this second release, I think they knocked it out of the park. Fantastic art box. Superb base. That stand is just phenomenal. Tailoring, spot on. The body and articulation are great. That custom body is just amazing. Everything, paint app, screen accuracy, all nailed on. And thank God that head sculpt nailed on as well. But yeah, there you have it. That's honourable mention number 1, so let's move swiftly on. Okay folks, so the second honourable mention of the evening goes to Bub the Zombie from George A. Romero's 1985 seminal masterpiece, Day of the Dead. Now, this figure didn't make it to the final cut for the top 10 for a number of reasons. Firstly, it's a custom figure and not mass produced, and the top 10 is pretty much reserved for figures that have been produced on a mass basis. And secondly, I'm pretty certain this figure is over a year old. However, I acquired it this year from 2 very, very talented individuals who shall remain nameless. One did the head sculpt. I just can't resist zooming in on this head sculpt. Absolutely amazing head sculpt. And the other very talented gent did the body and the outfit, which is absolutely on point. And this figure has literally, straight out of the box, became my favourite 1/6 scale figure in my entire collection, and that's saying something. Head sculpt perfect, outfit absolutely nailed on, screen accuracy's there, the proportions are great. I could gush on about this piece, but we've got a top 10 to get through. Suffice it to say, if it had qualified for the top 10, it would have beaten all comers, hands down, easily, and it would have been my figure of the year. But unfortunately, as I say, we reserve that slot for the big names and the mass production companies. So unfortunately, Bub doesn't make it. But yeah, still unofficially my favourite figure of the year. Okay folks, so it's time for the final honourable mention of the evening, which goes to a pair of figures. It's Hot Toys Ladypool and Deadpool from the movie Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, these are getting an honourable mention because these are Mrs. Go figures of the year. And I have to say, good taste she has too. Yeah, the absolutely on point pieces, these great figures, and Mrs. Go figure absolutely loves Ladypool, she loves Deadpool, she particularly loves Baby Pool and the two dog pools. In fact, she loves everything pool. Yeah, great choice of figures, and I have to say a massive shout out to Mrs. Go figure for tolerating my plastic person addiction in 2024, and also tolerating a house that looks like an Amazon depot populated by hundreds of little plastic people everywhere. But yeah, great figures, superb tailoring, multitude of fantastic accessories. Overall, just brilliant pieces, and a sign of Hot Toys getting back into their stride in 24 after maybe taking a few knocks earlier in the year. So there you have it. That's Mrs. Go Figures' choice of figures of the year, and that rounds it up for the honourable mentions. So without further ado, let's dive into the top 10. So folks, at number 10, it's Sideshow's take on Harry Callahan, aka Clint Eastwood, from the 1971 Don Siegel directed classic Dirty Harry. Now, I was on the fence about this one, and to be honest, it has barely scraped into the top 10 due to a number of issues. The sculpt is really good, but the paint apps are off. The suit is really well tailored, but the material could be a lot better. That sideshow stand, well, that went straight in the bin, and that gap between the neck and the head are all things that really go against this figure. So I have been pulling my hair out about this one. It's been in and out of the top 10 more times than Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas. But I settled on keeping it in for one reason. From a distance, it looks amazing. Just don't get too close. That's my advice, because that's when it all starts to go horribly wrong. So I guess you could say Clint and Sideshow definitely feel lucky, very lucky to be in the top 10. So, on to number 9. So, number 9, it's Present Toys Javier Bardem as Anton Chigurh from the Coen Brothers directed classic modern day western No Country for Old Men. So as regulars to the channel will know, I have a sort of love-hate relationship going on with Present Toys. When they get it right, it's stunning and it's celebrations all round. When they get it wrong, it can be a train wreck and tears before bedtime. But thankfully, they mostly got it right here with two fantastic head sculpts, and I'm growing to love the grinning one more and more each day. Spot on accessories and outfit. Just a great example of what Present Toys can do when they put their mind to it. It doesn't seem to be that often that they put their mind to it. Unfortunately, not all the time. One word for you in 2025 Present Toys: consistency. Start using that as your watchword, and you will absolutely get into the tall grass with the big boys. That's not to say that this figure's perfect. He is not thick enough around the waist area there. The paint applications could be ever so slightly better, but yeah, on the whole, I think it's a great representation of Anton Chigurh by Javier Bardem, and a worthy holder of the ninth place slot. And yeah, a sort of a shout out has to go to this accessory here. Absolutely wonderful, made of metal. Accessories are great with this figure, but yeah. So there you have it. That is Present Toys' take on Javier Bardem. So moving swiftly on to number 8. Okay folks, so the number 8 slot goes to Trick or Treat Studios' take on Donald Pleasence, aka Dr. Sam Loomis, from John Carpenter's 1978 genre-defining horror movie that is Halloween. Collectors waited a long time to get the definitive Sam Loomis, and unfortunately this isn't it, but it's damn close. Tots was so close to perfection with this figure that it, in my opinion, deserves a spot in the top 10. Just a couple of things let it down. Paint apps and that overcoat. Don't get me wrong, I think this is a fantastic figure. The head sculpt is simply stunning. That likeness of Donald Pleasence there is unnerving. The proportions are nailed on. The outfit overall is very, very good. The two issues with this figure are pretty much in your face and overarching, forgive the pun. Firstly, Dr. Loomis looks like he's had an extended holiday in the Caribbean. A little bit too tan there. And that overcoat, yeah, wrong style, wrong colour, wrong material. However, outside of silly money custom pieces, in my opinion, I don't think you'll find a 1/6 scale Dr. Loomis better than this. Really, really a cracking piece to go along with your Michael Myers 1/6 scale figures. So there you have it, folks. That's Dr. Sam Loomis at number 8. So on to number 7. So the number 7 spot is going to get shared because Mr. Go Figures simply couldn't put a piece of paper between these two. Yes, it's Org Toys' take on Oscar Isaac and Josh Brolin as Duke Leto Atreides and Gurney Halleck from Denis Villeneuve's 2021 science fiction epic that is Dune. So what can I say about these figures other than everything is just done really, really well. Screen accuracy, detailed paint apps, the build quality, head sculpts, it's just all exemplary work here from Org Toys. They are, in my opinion anyway, the perfect 1/6 scale Dune package, and I am waiting with bated breath to see the still suit Paul that they've got coming up, and can't wait to get that in hand and get that reviewed. If I had to level any criticisms or nitpick about these figures, I would say perhaps those paint apps on the beards could be slightly better. And that footprint spacing on the base there, which sort of pushes you into a museum vanilla pose, is a bit of a pain because I do like these bases. These bases are great. These are very, very simple figures. There's nothing too complex going on here, but they are simplicity just done really, really well. But that's me. That's my opinion. And in my humble opinion as well, these are two must-haves for any fan of Dune, any collector of 1/6 scale figures. So there you have it, folks. Moving swiftly on, let's find out what's in position number 6. Okay, folks, so in at number 6, it's Mars Toys' first but not last entry in my top 10 with their take on Jack Nicholson, aka the Joker from Tim Burton's classic 1989 movie Batman. So what can I say about Mars Toys? Their work over the past few years on the Batman line has been simply exemplary, putting a lot of licensed figure manufacturers to shame. And their Mr. J figure is no exception. Honestly, the number 6 spot could have gone to any number of Mars Toys Batman figures. Their Keaton Bruce Wayne, their Michael Goff Alfred, just to name 2, but this Joker is simply amazing. Stunning tailoring. Proportions spot on, excellent accessories, amazing paint apps, and 3, count them, 3 superb head sculpts to go at. What's not to love here? Really, it's really hard to find fault with this figure. It's an amazing piece of work, and Mars Toys don't look like dropping the ball anytime soon either. Simply put, this is a classic figure from a classic movie. Here endeth the lesson. So at number 5 we have Hot Toys' first but not last entry in my top 10. So 2024 saw Hot Toys kick back at the looming competition and kick back big style with 2.0 releases, their all new Artisan line, and the biggest line of new releases we have possibly ever seen from Hot Toys. It's fair to say at this point their Artisan Heath Ledger Joker would probably have figured significantly in my top 10 had I got it in hand. But suffice it to say, Hot Toys' response to the pressure has not only been impressive, but bodes really, really well for a Figure Pack 2025. So when I unboxed Dead Strange, I was transported back to the good old days of Hot Toys, when Hot Toys went all in with the figure, and this is definitely all in. Not the best MCU movie ever made in my opinion, but damn, this figure is amazing. Everything is just nailed on. There isn't a centimetre of this figure that isn't covered with detail. Materials, screen accuracy, paint apps, and the shelf presence. Well, the shelf presence is just off the scale with this piece. It's a fitting tribute to Sam Raimi's Multiverse of Madness, and reconfirms Hot Toys are still in the driving seat if we were ever in doubt. So there you have it. At number 5, that's Hot Toys' incredible Dead Strange. So onwards and upwards, folks. Yes, folks, it's Hot Toys again, but maybe not the figure you were expecting. The number 4 slot goes to Hot Toys' take on Donnie Yen as Kane, the Blind Assassin in Chad Stahelski's John Wick Chapter 4. To me, this is a great example of how perfecting the simple stuff is so important in the 1/6 scale world. This is not a complex figure by any stretch of the imagination, but beneath its simplicity is a figure that demonstrates Hot Toys' years of experience. Perfectly painted, sculpted head, perfectly tailored outfit with the amazing wide sections in that suit. It's just great body, great proportions. The figure puts me in mind actually of a Japanese haiku. To the untrained eye, a haiku is small and simplistic, but you dig a bit deeper and you find complexity disguised as simplicity. I think years of honing their art here, Hot Toys, have come to a head with this figure, and I think it's just an amazing piece. It really, really is. I cannot find fault with it, and it even surprised me as an old jaded collector that you could find such intricacy in something that is apparently so simple. But yeah, that's enough of me and my age. Let's jump into the top 3 without further ado. Okay folks, we are into the top 3, and at number 3 it's the relative newcomers to the 1/6 scale world. In Art, with their take on Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne from the 2022 Matt Reeves directed movie The Batman. So let's get this out of the way. I am neither a Hot Toys fanboy nor an In Art fanboy. I am a 6 scale figure fanboy, and as long as it's good, I pretty much don't care who made it. I'm not going to get into the whole debate about release dates and pricing and QC questions, but what I will say is this is simply an amazing figure. In Art haven't missed a beat here, which is more than can be said for the Bruce Wayne figure, I have to say. But with this figure, In Art flexed, and flexed well. Not only putting the wind up Hot Toys, but raising the bar and price point on 1/6 scale figures for good by the sounds of it. Take it from me, the level of detail and presentation here is scary. If I had to make one complaint about this figure, it's the base. In Art could take a lesson from other companies about the use of magnetic bases, and that's why you're seeing him on this particular stand and not the one that he normally comes with. But take it from me, the level of detailing and accuracy is on point. The presentation of this figure, the packaging it comes in, the accessories, all nailed on. And I think if In Art maintained this really, really high standard of work, we are on for some real treats from In Art in 2025. And I don't think anyone's going to top this in the near future either. It's pretty much the definitive Pattinson Batman. Absolutely a must-have for any Batman fan, any fan of the movie, any fan of 1/6 scale figures. Very few figures are come under the banner of must-haves, in my opinion, but this is one of them. So we're nearly there, folks. We're nearly at number 1. Let's move on to number 2. Okay, folks, it's the penultimate figure, and let's put the is it or isn't it argument to bed immediately. I know this figure was right on the cusp of 2023-2024, but in my opinion its official public release was in 2024, so it qualifies for the top 10. Full stop. End of debate. So in second place, it's Iconic Studios' take on possibly the greatest boxer of all time, Muhammad Ali. Iconic are a relatively new company to the 1/6 scale world, but they made a big splash in a short space of time with some amazing pieces. And I have to say, it has to be a very special figure to pull Mystigo figure away from movies and into the sporting arena. But trust me, this figure is very special indeed. From the beautifully proportioned and constructed seamless body to the two superb head sculpts. The nailed-on display base, the accessories are absolutely stunning. And it's a fitting tribute to the man himself and the artists over at Iconic Studios. Although I'm sure Mr. Ali would be less than happy to find out that he come in second place in my top 10. I think it's an amazing piece of work, well deserving second place. And I have to say, I am super excited for what Iconic Studios have got planned for 2025. In particular, their Highlander range. I think that is going to be something very special indeed. Yeah, so there you have it. That's the second place figure. So, who will be crowned champion? Cue drum roll. So here they are, folks. In my opinion, the best figures of 2024 in my collection, that is. And it's gone to a pair of figures simply because they came as a pair, and I can't put a piece of paper between them. So the honour of Figure of the Year is going to a pair of figures. And it's 2 years in a row for Caustic Plastic, who grabbed the number 1 slot last year, as regulars to the channel will know, with their Nosferatu figure. But this year it's their take on Peter Cushing as Van Helsing and Christopher Lee as Dracula from the 1958 Terence Fisher directed Horror of Dracula. This decision will come as no surprise to regulars to the channel, as they will be more than aware of my love affair with Caustic Plastic and their figures, and they've done it again. They've absolutely smashed it again. As close to 1/6 scale perfection as you are likely to ever find. It's not just the craftsmanship, the artistry, the obvious love that's gone into the detailing here that makes these figures so unique. It's just as much the subject matter as well, in my opinion. In a world full of 100 different Spider-Men, of 1,000 different iterations of Stormtrooper, Caustic Plastic are making the figures I want in my collection. And I can't wait for 2025 for their Chuck Norris, their Toshiro Mifune, their Lon Chaney, all the figures that they've got lined up. The Boris Karloff in particular, I am so looking forward to their take on Universal Monsters and Frankenstein figure. And I'm really looking forward to as well is their Herbert West from Reanimator. A little minor low-budget classic in the horror genre, in my opinion. But yeah, the attention to detailing here, the bases, the outfits, the costuming, the paint application, the screen accuracy. I know I sound like a broken record here, but all these things bear repeating. And the accessories, that wonderful coffin there in the background, just all absolutely amazing. The work on these two is exemplary, and I can't state it enough how much I do love these two figures. So there you have it, folks. That's my top 10 figures of 2024. I hope you enjoyed this roundup of a year in 1/6 scale, and with 2025 only set to get better. It's going to be a good year. I can feel it in my bones. So a massive thank you to everyone for watching, and as I mentioned at the top there, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you don't miss any of the good stuff coming up on the channel in 2025. And I suppose all that remains for me to say is, from myself, from Count Dracula and Professor Van Helsing, have a very happy Christmas, a very prosperous new year, and as always, take care of yourselves and happy collecting.